All right, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title, the dystopian future is now reality. And basically, over the past year, past couple of years, especially with this whole CV situation that happened, although you still had a good portion of people that are still zombified, you also had on the flip side a good portion of people that pretty much had their eyes open. All right, it was like a eye opener for them having experienced a situation like that where there's so much information coming out. Now, when you go to times of like prior demics that have happened, the prevalence of alternative media wasn't as high as it was during this one. And that's why when you look at some of their reports for, analysis and so on and so forth, they say like, oh, something that they should have done better was controlling the narrative, controlling the media and the access to information, right? So the point being that a lot of people are now starting to realize that the things that they used to call so-called conspiracy theories are actually reality. And when you look at a lot of these movies, dystopian, when you go into, matter of fact, let me look into that word here. But an example would be like them futuristic, dark-ish movies, them like Walking Deads and I Am Legends and stuff like that. But let's type that in here and see what we get for dystopian meaning. Yeah, it says here, relating, this is the Google definition, relating to or denoting an imagined state or society where there is great suffering or injustice. Okay, some of the synonyms are nightmarish. Okay, nightmarish, terrifying, hellish, Orwellian. So that's pretty much the when you watch those movies. Like even there's a movie 1984, right? George Orwell's 1984, and you'll start to see that all of a sudden it doesn't look too different than the things that you're seeing either being talked about or being promoted or being pushed in society today. And that's because those dystopian movies, a lot of them are a form of what's called predictive programming, where these elites use the media as a medium, right, between them and the people. That's how they communicate with the people. And it's not just through news sites and news articles, but it's also through a lot of these movies. Because majority of the directors of these movies, these so-called Hollywood directors and all of that, they know they're some of them are insiders, and they know what's coming, and they show you these things through movies, not because they do it and they know that it's going to make you prepared to some degree, because they know that the majority of the people today, they don't give a damn. They're so docile, they don't realize what's right in front of them. Wasn't it one of the things, you might go into it that you have to do that in order for revelation of the method. Yeah, basically there's a certain, I think it's a ritual, but it's basically where they gotta like tell you what it is that they're gonna do before they do it. So that way when they do it, it's kind of like, hey, we let it, like you knew exactly what we were gonna do, and that's why we did it, and you ain't do nothing about it. And so in order to be successful at doing something like that, right? Imagine imagine you tell somebody, I don't know, let me give you two scenarios, right? You walk up into a school or a bank or some location, and you tell somebody, I'm going to blow this place up in the next 10 minutes. If that's somebody that's competent, somebody that's paying attention, somebody that's intelligent, somebody that's prudent, they're going to say, okay, thank you for that information. I'm going to grab my stuff and I'm going to leave. And tell anybody that I care about, I'm going to tell them, and we all going to leave. Now, imagine that same scenario, but you say this, but the person that you're saying it to is distracted. They're like on their phone, or they're on like some important phone conversation, or some important meeting, or some crazy text they just got, or they're watching a meme or something like that. And you say that. They're not more than likely. They're probably going to hear something. I'm gonna the next 10 minutes. Yeah, cool, all right, whatever, cool. And then that's it. So guess what's gonna happen? Their ass gonna get blown up, but it's okay because you told them right into their face, but they were so distracted that they didn't care. It's almost like they weren't even hearing it. So that's what these elites decided to do. They decided to turn society into basically like a matrix of distractions and confusion. So the average individual is so bogged down by daily, day-to-day activities that you can't even call it life because you're really just surviving, right? You're either in school or you're at work, and majority of your jobs are like, they require a lot of your time and attention and your energy, and then by the time you come home, you're tired and worn out. You only got a few hours. If you got kids, it's even that much more. You got like 2 jobs. You got to come home, you got to cook, you got to find something to eat, and then you got to find the time to rest, right? Because you do need an adequate amount of sleep. So if you're working 9 hours, you're sleeping 8 or 9 hours, you only got a little bit of time in your day to do anything else. If you're not already bogged down, or if you're not using that time to prepare for when you came home from work. So, and then this cycle repeats over and over and over again, right? So people don't have the time to take their foot off the plow or jump out of the hamster wheel to look at what's happening in society. Because when to them, they're like, I already have enough that I'm trying to juggle as it is to survive. I can't do this. And that's the distraction. That's what keeps their heads down. When they talk about heads down time, it means like you're just locked in on something. Because of that, these elites walk into the room and everybody's heads are down. So they got the ability to do whatever they want around these people. But guess what? Yeah, we're also bogged down with the care, the cares of this life, but not in the sense of being distracted. Okay, but we still have to lift up our heads, regardless of how much more extra work that may be, or how much more time that may take from your day. You still got to lift up your head, because your life is not down here. The ultimate reality of what's going on, what's really going to affect your life, is out the matrix. Real life is not happening in the matrix. Real life is happening outside the matrix. When you watch the movie The Matrix, what happened when Neo finally got in the matrix? Everything looks fine. There's society, there's buildings, there's people, which are really programs that are walking around. There's agents and shit. You can decide to live in the matrix, like that trader who betrayed them for some good life in the matrix. But in reality, they're like, yo, you living in freaking underground and pods and caves and metallic tunnels. You eating slob. What the dude called tasty wheat. some blob of what looks like oatmeal versus a mix of peanuts. Some watery oatmeal and peanuts, calling it tasty wheat. And if you go above if you went above the surface, you're gonna find out that it's destroyed. It's run by machines. That was real life, not the matrix. So the point is, this world that we're living in, this dystopian society, when people start to lift their heads up, they start to see the world is changing, very quickly. We're talking to the brother Harana. He was basically saying that, like, now they're saying, like, in the World Economic Forum, there was this lady saying that the average individual should have, like, basically like a working knowledge of Python, which is like a programming language, or else they're useless. So they're telling you like how fast technology is advancing, that it's getting so sophisticated that if you are an average individual and you don't have an understanding to some degree of some programming or some degree of that, you're useless. Anyway, let's get into that in the book of Second Entrance, because at the end of the day, this is all what? Prophecy. Prophecy meaning that all these things we're seeing now, they were already seen. They were seen back then, thousands of years ago, by the prophets concerning what was going to happen in this time. And they wrote it down. So now we have a guide, because the prophets in their visions, they saw more than we're seeing now. What I mean by that is, when you read the book of Second Entrance, or the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, with the prophecy about the mark of the beast, that is a little ahead of us now. Meaning the Apostle John saw our time, but he also saw what happens after. So we can look in the book and say, all right, we're going to measure the events that are written in the book and find out and pinpoint where we are. It's like when you go to like a Central Park, or you go to some train station or some bus stop. They have that tiny little map, and on the map it says you are here. Like even if you go to Six Flags, they'll show you, like, on the map where you're standing. It'll say you are here. So when you want to go somewhere, you first need to find out where you are, right? If you take a GPS, for example, all GPS, they have two inputs, right? Your location and your destination. It's always a source and a destination. The GPS cannot calculate a route for you if it doesn't know where you are, right? So it's the same thing. When you read the scriptures, we use it like a map, like a guidance tool, where you pinpoint in prophecy where you are. And from there, you can find out, oh, okay, it looks like this is what's next, or this is what's next. Right? We're not going to read the book and say, oh, okay, it looks like World War II is coming up next. No, we're already past that. That already happened. You know? So we're looking at the events that are supposed to happen post that time. And those events are the mark of the beast, World War III. And then we're seeing all those things happening now. So we're like, okay, it's like when you look on the map, right? It says you are here. And you look like on the map, it tells you that directly on your left is going to be like this building that just says like, I don't know, Disneyland or something. And then directly on your right is going to be a statue of Mickey Mouse. So when you look on the map, you're like, okay, you look to your right, you see the statue of Mickey Mouse. You look to your left, you see the building. You're like, okay, I know where I'm at now. It's the same thing. When we read the book tells us we are here in prophecy. And then we look around and we say, okay, the Lord talked about wars and rumors of wars. Okay, the Lord talked about the MOTP. Oh, okay, cool. That's like us looking around and making sure that we know where we are in prophecy. Then we follow along in the steps. Oh, the map says if I take 5 steps forward and 3 steps to the right, I'm going to be at the King Dakar. You know, if I go here, I'm going to be at Wonder Woman or whatever, this ride. Follow the book. Oh, okay, if this is where we are, there shall be wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. But this is just the beginning of sorrows. Okay, well, the Lord talked about famines. The book of 2nd Ezra talks about, you know, the chaos that's going to take place. So we know that's coming next. You know, it's just a matter of time. We know that there are going to be famines. We know that there's going to be pestilences. And we know ultimately there's going to be a thermonuclear war. All right? So let's go into that. Let's start off with 2nd Ezra 15.
This is 2nd Ezra 15:1.
And here's the thing, too. You know, when people go on a voyage, or they go on a journey via a boat, they need someone called a navigator, right? A navigator is one that knows how to navigate the seas. He knows how to read maps. You know that in the ancient world, and even till today maps are much easier. But in the ancient world, you needed somebody that knew how to read maps. It wasn't just like the average individual. You get up and you're like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go on a journey. All right, I'm just going to go buy me a map and I'm going to go this way. You're going to be lost. You needed somebody who knew the landscape, who knew how to read a map. Oh, no, you're actually looking at it upside down. This is where we are. This is how we go. You know, because the maps weren't easy to read. So just like in order to get from one place to another, you got to know how to read the map. In order to understand where we are in the book and where we're going, you got to have the spirit of prophecy. Okay? Which comes from the Heavenly Father, Ba'ashem Yahushai. So there's a lot of people that'll be like, you know, I've been a pastor for 30 years. I ain't never seen that in there. Yeah, because you didn't have the spirit on you. The scriptures tell you, right? Ever learning, but never able to come to the fullness of the truth. So you're like, yeah, I've been reading this and reading this and reading this, but I never knew that this was in here. That's why a lot of these so-called Christians, they're now using the same, you know, they go into certain precepts that they never brought out before. Using the blue letter, they're going into the etymology. You go to, you hear in a church, you know, when you actually go into the root word, you find out that in the Greek, not the Latin, not the Spanish, not the RSV, but the Greek, it tells you that the word there is kainos. Kainos. That's right, kainos. I bet y'all ain't know that. Nigga, you ain't know that. Where did you find out? Why is it that in the past X amount of years you just now started going into it? Well, 15 years ago you weren't doing that. So where are they getting that information? Where is that influence coming from? What are they looking at to say, let me start looking into the root words? I know the Bible wasn't originally written in English. I got to go back to the original words, the original language, and get the truth. Where is that coming from? You know, go ahead. So indirectly, they seek validation from us. Indirectly, we're their teachers, whether they want to admit it or not. Anyway, let's listen again.
This is 2nd Ezra 1. Oh, Slaka. 2nd Ezra 15:1. And it reads, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy.
Right. Speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Now, when the Lord, you know, when you read some of these writings, right, the Lord is speaking in most cases directly to a prophet or to whoever he's speaking to. But when he talks about like son of man, prophesy and say this, or speak this and speak that, that applies to us now because we're in the same stead as the men of old. Okay, the Lord doesn't need to come to us and tell us that. Guess what? It's like when you maybe you start a job, right? There's something called shadowing. When you first start a new job, you shadow somebody. You shadow them, meaning that you see what they're doing. Maybe they got like a full-on training, right? But once they got to the point where they know how the job is done, you're not gonna get that full training they got. You're just gonna shadow them to find out how they're doing, you know, so that you don't need. Not every new employee needs a full training. Okay, so the Lord is gonna be like, all right, well, the same things I told them to do, you pretty much got to do the same thing. Just follow what they did. You know, do what I told them to do. Then what the Lord told the Apostle Peter to do, the Lord is like, well, you already know what to do. If I told the Apostle Peter, you want to get into the kingdom of heaven, you love me, feed my lambs, go out to the highways and byways and teach them my word, right? That's how you get to the kingdom of heaven. Now 2,000 years later, you come back on the scene and you're like, yo, I'm reading this book here, I want to make it to the kingdom of heaven. I love the Lord. Does the Lord need to come back and tell you, hey, I'm not, you know, you love me, you want to make it to the kingdom of heaven, go out there to the highways and byways and teach them my word and feed and call the lost sheep of Israel to me. He doesn't need to do that. That's why the book is there. That's why he had it preserved in there. So the same place you found out what you wanted, which is the kingdom, is the same place you're going to find out how to get to it. That's why you have books. That's why you have manuals. Do you know why manufacturers write a manual? So that their emails and their phones don't blow up with every new person that buys their product calls them and says, hey, how do I use this product? Give me a one-on-one session on how to use this product. They write a manual. So everybody that gets the product comes with a manual. They only say it once and everybody else can get access to it. So it's the same thing here. The Lord said it once. He told the prophets of old. We read it. We're doing the same thing. So we know what to do. The Lord doesn't need to come to you in today's day and age and tell you, hey, you, Mr. X or Mr. Y, I told the Apostle Peter this, I'm going to tell it to you again. No. So the point is, as we're reading of in 2nd Ezra 15, speak down in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, that applied back then, but it applies now. We're supposed to do the same thing. That's why if you watch our videos, majority of it is relating to future events. What's going to happen, what's happening right now, how is that going to lead to something else happening, X, Y, and Z. You got it? For a reason?
Continuing, which I will put in thy mouth, says the Lord.
Right, which I will put in thy mouth. So you don't just get up one day and you're like, oh, this is what I think is going to happen, so I'm just going to go out and say that that's going to happen. Then you're a false prophet because you're making things up. Okay? We go according to the words of the scriptures, what the Lord has told us is going to happen. All right?
All right. Continuing. And cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true.
Right, cause them to be written on paper, for they're faithful and true. And so that's why we have access to it today. Now, you may say, well, you don't have access to the exact paper that Ezra wrote on. Nobody has access to the exact paper that anybody wrote on that long ago. Okay? It doesn't matter what book it is. It doesn't matter what source it is. As a matter of fact, you may say, oh, well, I was reading this book or this quote by this book that says quotes by Marcus Aurelius. You realize that obviously the copy you're reading is not the exact one that he wrote. But it doesn't matter because what he said remains the same. That's all that. Look, man, if somebody writes a book, you take the words in the book and rewrite it in another book. It's the same book. It's not the same physical copy, but are you worried about the actual physical paper or are you worried about the words written on the paper? You know, the point is the message. Okay, that's the point. So you get hung up on, oh, well, you know, this book was given to this man. First off, even when you read the scriptures, they weren't given a book. They wrote on scrolls, manuscripts. And in process of time, especially in our day and age, it got comprised into, they put it all together into a book. And then later on, they separated by chapter and verse. So it's much easier for us now. But what we care about is the message. Look, if you had the book, right? This brother went and read the book, so he got the knowledge in his head. Guess what? I'm gonna go after him because he got the information. If I can't get access to the book, I'm gonna go to him. I don't care about the actual physical piece of paper. I care about what's on it. That's where the value is. That's why today you have PDFs. You read something online, it's the same thing that's in the physical copy. So what you're worried about is the words in here. So the Lord preserved those things, right? That says cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true, and that's how we have access to them today. So yeah, this is a new print from this era, but the information on this still stays the same. The concept is still the same, and that's what matters. That we understand the main idea of what the Lord wants us to understand. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee.
Yeah, and plus the material that was used back then does not survive that long. You have to, like back then, you couldn't just reprint things. You put it in when you have a manuscript, it means handwritten. Okay, manu goes back to the Greek word manus, which is your hand, and script goes to write. So when you have a manuscript, it means it was handwritten. Back then, they didn't have a printer. Oh, okay, this is what Ezra said. All right, give me that. Put it on here. Give me 200 copies of this. Okay, print. That technology wasn't available back then. So you had scribes who would scribe things down. So, okay, all right, we have to translate. This book is getting old. Oh, as a matter of fact, when you watch the TV show Game of Thrones, there was a scene where this guy, the fat dude, Sam, when he went to learn how to be a maester or whatever, the dude had him rewrite those old ass scrolls. He had to rewrite them on new parchment. That's how they preserve the information. Because if you have this old ass piece of paper that now starts to decay, and you touch it and it rips, the information is gone. So you got to keep on transferring it onto newer paper, and you got to do it by hand. Go ahead.
Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee.
Right. Let not the incredulity, meaning their lack of belief, their faithlessness. Don't let it trouble you. Because you have some people that, I had somebody come on my comment board talking about, you got to bring out more precepts, man. It's just a long ass video rambling, yada, yada, yada. And you go on the video and this just says, account was created 1 month ago. No videos, no nothing. At least I got videos. You out here, like, that's the thing. Like, bro, if you are going to come and say you got input, where's your output? Oh, yeah, well, you're doing this way, but really you should be doing it that way. Well, you should be doing something because you're not doing shit. But anyway, there you go. That's what I'm saying. If I didn't do a good enough job, you should have put the scriptures on there for me. Brothers got to bring out more precepts. we know the precepts now. The scriptures talk about having the word within you. Guess what? When all hell breaks loose, you may not have access to a physical Bible, but the point is, you got the information within you. If I know what Revelation 14:9 says and Revelation 13:16 says, I'm good, because I know that when it comes out, don't take the MOTB. Look, when you get a book, right? You buy a book. Maybe it's a manual, it's a book on a how-to book on how to do this or how to drive or whatever, right? Once you read the book and you understand the contents, you don't really need the book anymore. At that point, the book becomes a point of reference. You may forget something, so you go back to find it in there. But you now know what's in there. Once you know it, your head is now the new book, right? It's in your memory. It's not on paper, it's in your memory now. So you're good. You can carry it with you wherever you go. Even if you lose the book, you're going to be fine. A lot of people that you have a giant bookshelf in your house, and you got all these books in there. Majority of those books, if you've already read them, you probably don't touch them again for a long, long, long time. Because it's already in here. How do you change a light bulb? Well, I know how to do it now. I know how to change a light bulb, but I'm going to still go bring out the book and read how it says and then do it again. I already know how to do it. Right?
That speak against thee.
Right. So the point is, you got some people that get like troubled because you have, somebody put in their opinion. Everybody has an opinion. But then again, it doesn't mean that your opinion matters. The only ones whose opinions matter are Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, because they're the only ones whose opinions actually affect you in a meaningful way. You say something, somebody comes and says, I don't believe what you're saying. Okay? I mean, the only thing that changed were new words that came out of your mouth. The sun didn't change its course. The earth didn't stop moving. The wind didn't stop. I didn't freeze. I didn't get a heart attack. So what really changed between before you got here and after you got here? You came and said a few words about how you don't believe what I'm saying. Okay. What that got to do with me? I believe what I'm saying. That's all. That's enough for me. That's like if you go to a restaurant, right? You like cheeseburgers, so you order a cheeseburger. Somebody comes up in the order. Maybe the waiter comes and says that I'm not a fan of cheeseburgers. Okay? Why are you telling me that? You're not a fan of cheeseburgers, so don't eat it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, don't like the elder Yashwan, but he said something in this video. I was listening to it, and it makes a lot of sense, right? You got people that come on here, watch your whole entire video, and then put a comment on, oh, I don't like your videos. I didn't come and grab you and tell you to click on the video and watch it. You did, of your own will, your own mindset, saw the page. You saw what the title says. You saw the thumbnail. You sat there and watched the whole thing. Nobody says keep on watching. Nobody's forcing you to watch these videos. If you don't like the videos, don't watch them. You coming to tell me you don't like the videos, ain't gonna do nothing. Oh, I'm gonna stop making videos because one individual said they didn't like them. That's why the Apostle Paul said, for what if something not believed? Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Then we come back to second entrance, Romans 3:3. You know, so it's saying don't let their incredulity trouble you because it obviously holds no weight. Like you got people now saying, oh, they don't believe the Apostle Paul is an authority. Okay, and you know, okay, all right, cool. We do. We gonna follow his writings. You know. But we better not see you come on video talking about, hey, yeah, women must keep silence in the churches. Wait, hold on. Who said that? The same one that's not an authority? but you're an authority, right? He ain't, but you are. But you learned from his writings. But he's not an authority, but you are. Okay. Go ahead.
This is Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe?
Yeah, so what if there's some people out there, you're teaching, and they're like, nah. Nope, I don't believe that. Okay, go ahead.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
Yeah, so just because some people don't believe, is that going to change the things that are written in the book? Is that going to change the prophecies that are set to happen? Is that really going to change anything? It may change your mindset if you let it affect you, but if you realize that it really holds no weight, then you're fine, right? So what? Is it going to change anything in here? Is it going to change what happens when you die? Is it going to change the nuclear wars that's about to pop off from happening? The Lord is not Santa Claus. He's not Tinkerbell. He's not a God where it's like, you know, he starts fading away the less people that believe in him. He needs you to believe in him. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? You're going to believe by force when them fire from the chariots come down. You're going to believe when you're starving to death, like the movie Nefarious. The dude, and that's a very good movie. I recommend anybody watching this video, go and watch the movie Nefarious. It's a very, very interesting movie because in the movie, you basically had this demon whose name was Nefarious. He had taken over a man's body, and basically you had the was it? I think it was like a lawyer, a prosecutor, something like that. He basically came in there to interview and assess this guy who's mental illness, right? Because that would determine his sentence. Would he get the death penalty for committing some heinous crime, or would they just like, you know, give him a slap on the wrist because they'll say he's mentally insane? So the dude who came in there was an atheist, and he's talking to a demon, and the demon is telling him, "Look, before you leave this place, you pretty much gonna leave a different person." Guess what? He left a different person. You know, he came in there not believing, said all these different things, came in there super proud, but guess what? The demon wasn't begging him to believe. He said, "Okay, fine, you don't believe, but you're gonna find out." Because guess what? At the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. Oh, I don't believe that you know, like during the time of what's his name? Noah. When Noah told him that a flood was coming, you think if they believed him, they would have got caught in the flood? They believed him, they would have been on the ark, no? Oh, okay, Noah, a flood is coming. What is that? Rain? Water's gonna come down from the sky? Are you crazy, Noah? What the hell are you talking about? I don't believe that. Okay, that's fine. What happened to them? They drowned. They believed it when they were drowning, you know. But Noah survived, right? Because he believed it. So their unbelief did not destroy Noah. It did not put him to death. All right.
This is Philippians 2:12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So we're really doing this for ourselves, because like we can't allow what you say to us affect us, because we're trying to work out our own salvation. You know?
Yeah, good point. We still gotta do what we gotta do. That's the story. All right, let's keep going. We finished in Romans, right? All right, back in second Ezra.
This is second Ezra 15 and 4. For every unbeliever shall die in his unbelief.
Yeah, so as it says, don't let their incredulity trouble you. Don't be bothered by the fact that people scoff at you and say that. Look, everybody gets scoffed at to some degree, because we don't live in a utopia. That means that people will believe different things. You tell somebody, yo, I believe in unicorns. There's gonna be somebody that's gonna scoff against you. There's different videos out there that somebody says, oh, this is real. Somebody comes on the comment board. No, it's not. You just made that up. There's always going to be an adversary to everything that you do because we don't live in a utopia. So don't let that bother you. Don't let that trouble you. Damn. One person said that they didn't like the way I said something. Shit. Is it me? Am I the problem? Am I the drama? Anyway, as it says, they're going to die in their unbelief. Like the those during the time of Noah, they died in their unbelief. Because they died. They didn't believe that the flood was coming. They didn't believe the destruction was coming. So when it came, they got swept up and they died. End the story.
Verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Right, those are a few examples of the plagues the Lord said He's going to bring upon the world. Okay, both the world of Israel and the whole world in the oikomany sense. Read those plagues again.
The sword.
The sword. Now, when it says the sword, it doesn't mean the Lord is going to manifest flying swords out the air and they're just going to start cutting and stabbing people. When it talks about the sword, it's usually in the form of, like if you go into the ancient world, it would be like one nation coming with their armies and then because they fought with swords. Okay, but here it means death by weapons. Like somebody shoots you, somebody stabs you to death, like chaos, anarchy. Okay, in chaos and anarchy and violence and war, that's when the sword is used as a plague to kill people. Right? Go on.
Famine.
Now, famine doesn't mean that food ceases to exist. Famine just means you don't have access to it, right? When you read in the book of Genesis, there was a famine. When there was a famine, why didn't the Egyptians die? They had food. Well, why did everybody have to come to Egypt? They didn't have access to the food. There was a drought. The crops weren't, cropping. The food wasn't fooding. So they had to find access to the food. So in most cases, when there's a famine, like there's famines going on in the world today. Are we dying? No. Are certain people in other parts of the world that can't get access to food dying? Yes. Because there's a famine. They don't have access to it. And the Lord is saying, yeah, He's going to bring famines. Okay? He's going to bring the sword. What else He's going to bring? Death. Yeah. And to die by famine, that's a painful. Matter of fact, let's go real quick to the book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter. I believe in there it describes, the pain of death by famine versus death by like sword. You know why during hard times some people they call it mercy killing. I know that when you read about the time when the Europeans, the conquistadors as they call them, came to the Americas, when they were going over and taking over certain tribes, as some of them saw these conquistadors coming, they actually killed their children and then killed themselves. And they called it a mercy killing because they perceived that the things that they would have to suffer for being alive under these people would be far worse than if they had just died. So they took death over that. So that's why in hard times, for example, like was it during the Great Depression or so, you had certain people who committed suicide. You had certain people jumping off of tall ass buildings, right? You know why some people commit suicide? Like a CEO, right? Mr. McMahon, for example, right? this guy, man, they posted some of them text messages and shit. This guy is man. If those are true, this dude is a next level freak, man. This dude is different, bro. Gone through. This is crazy. But say a man like that, right? Say some information like this comes out. He's like, I can't take it anymore. He goes and unoffs himself. He deletes himself, right? Why would he do that? Because in his mind, death is better than the to handle the humiliation and be thrown in jail and have to suffer all of those things. Okay? In his mind, a quick death, jump off a building, shoot yourself, whatever. I'm not telling him to go and do that. I'm just giving an example. Go ahead.
This is Lamentations 4 and 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger.
Right. So to be slain with the sword in the ancient world, you can get beheaded. Somebody could stab you in a vital organ. You know, you die, but it's not going to take you 2-3 days. You know, in a few minutes you're going to be dead. If your head is getting chopped up, then that's going to be pretty quick, right? Decapitation. Today, that's like somebody taking a gun, putting it in their mouth, and then shooting their heads. You know, shooting their brains out, right? Like I was watching that show that you recommended, The Boys, and there was a scene in there where they basically went into this sub basement area. They followed this Elamite looking dude. They got down there and they saw like this girl in a cage, and they let her out the cage. Man, this chick freaking leaped on their ass like a whole tiger, just ripping eyeballs. I mean, she had like super strength or some shit. She's grabbing eyes and bursting heads and shit. And so she attacked like 2 dudes, and the last dude was just like, fuck that. He put a gun in his mouth and then boom, shot his brains out. Because in his mind, that quick death is much better than whatever. She about to claw my eyeballs out and rip out my intestines. I'm good. I'll take the bullet. You know? So as it's saying here, to be slain with a sword, like that's like today somebody, you know, getting shot in the head versus them starving to death. If they gave you the 2 options, they said, you're going to die either way. Do you want somebody to just put a bullet in your head, or do you want us to leave you here without any food for like 2 weeks and you die that way? Most people would pick the bullet, right? So that's why it's saying here, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. And it's going to explain why.
For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field.
That's it. So they pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field, meaning they starve to death, right? And starvation is a process. You don't eat for a while, yeah, soon your body is going to switch into, you know, body preservation mode. It's going to start to try and look for any excess fat, them lipids, you know, that they teach you in bio, in the living environment and all that shit, right? They're going to start tapping into the lipids and the fats and all that, your stores. Eventually, they're going to run out of that. They're going to start tapping into your muscle. They're going to start eating them, breaking down. Your body's going to start breaking down itself to try and stay alive, have energy to do X, Y, and Z. But eventually, it's going to get to the point where, and when it starts consuming that fat, you start losing weight. But then eventually, your body's like, all right, I can't do this anymore. So it starts to shut down vital functions, or at least not vital functions, but like excess functions it doesn't need. It slows that down. Hair growth, you know, fingernail growth, skincare, all that shit, shut it down. Because your body's like, all that takes energy, right? For the cells to do what they got to do to keep your skin fresh and keep your hair growing and all that, that takes energy, you know? So your body's like, shut it down. I don't have enough energy to expend. I need to focus on the more important things. I need to help this dude see where he's going. I need to help him move his legs, right? But eventually that becomes harder to do. You know, like when you're sick, right? When you're sick, the reason your body aches and you feel so tired all the time when you're sick is because your immune system is trying to tell you, go to sleep so that I can use that energy that I would otherwise give to you to move around and shit. I can use it to focus on healing you, you know? So your body, in order to achieve homeostasis, it needs to know how to manage energy, you know, and resources inside of you. Okay, so when there's a famine and there's a lack of resources and your body goes into like, you know, survival mode, your metabolism slows down because you can't be burning through all this energy so fast, but your body starts to shut down certain uses that are not important for survival. And it starts to focus on the ones that are important. And then eventually it doesn't have enough energy to do those either. So now those start to shut down more as well. And then eventually you get so weak you can't even move and your body starts to look different. Your head gets bigger, your stomach swells up. It doesn't mean you're full, okay? And when you look at some of these children, right, that suffer famine, you see like their arms are very skinny, their legs are very skinny, but their stomach looks bloated and their head looks big, okay? And then eventually you get to the point where most people, when they die by starvation, it's because they actually die by some disease, you know, like a common cold would actually kill you because your body doesn't have enough energy to sustain your immune system. Your immune system gets very, very weak to where even the slightest small pathogen can kill you. Because it's like, oh, it's fair game. Ain't nobody here to stop me. All right, shit. Let me take over this host, and now you're dead. And that's a slow, painful process, you know. So to pine away because you're like, yo, I need food. Yo, I'm thirsty. My lips are chapped. My throat is sore. Like my throat is closing. Ah, shit. It's a painful, painful process to die by starvation. You know, that's why people would rather commit cannibalism than to die by starvation. But the scriptures are telling you that. Let's keep on reading that. If there's more on that part. Okay, so that wait, actually, yeah, read that.
Verse 10. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children.
Yeah, when you sodden, like sodden meaning like you boil it. So the pitiful women have sodden their own children. Go on.
They were their meat and the destruction of the daughter of my people.
There you go. So, like I just mentioned, cannibalism, right? You got so hungry. You know that commercial. You're not you when you're hungry. The Snickers commercial. It's funny, right? But it has truth to it. You know, you're not you when you're hungry. You become what they call tangy. That's why some people get angry and grumpy when they're hungry. You know, you don't want to talk to nobody. Like shit pisses you off quick. When you're hungry and you haven't eaten a while, shit pisses you off quick. You know, so you're not you when you're hungry. Your sense of reasoning actually gets altered, and there's studies done on that to say like what happens when there's like people don't have access to like food and stuff like that. Their sense of reasoning gets altered, meaning that you're not thinking in your right mind. That's when you start to think, you know what, human meat is still meat, and if it's still meat, I mean, can it really be that different than like fried chicken? You know, if I don't look, if I don't see, if I take the head off and shit, can it really be that? You know, meat is meat. And you start looking for the fattest person in the room or the most muscular person in the room and shit. You're like, all right, okay, we're gonna see what's up with this guy right here. You know, take one for the team type shit. So when it says that they sodden their children, they boiled their children. They didn't boil them for decorations. No, they boiled them and ate them. As it says, they were their meat in the destruction because they were so hungry. So obviously, you're not in your right mind if you killed your own child, not even somebody else's child, your own child. So I mean, so you can eat them. That shows you how desperate and how bad a famine can be, right? Go ahead. That was it on that? Yeah, let's read that.
Continuing, the Lord hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger and hath kindled a fire in Zion.
Yeah, so why is it saying that? Because why did the woman have to resort to eating her children? Because the Lord brought destruction upon them. They were in the siege. They were hungry. They had no food. So they're like, yo, you know what? We're going to need to do what we got to do. You know, I got to do what I got to do. Yeah, and so that goes to show you, right? Like we're reading in 2nd Ezra 15, the Lord said he's going to bring a famine. All right, and that's going to result in you know, this kind of destruction as well. And much worse at this time. I mean, the majority of people, man, the amount of stories that you're hearing nowadays of like crazy ass people, man, I saw a story that said that there was this couple that got the death penalty, you know, they were executed in China. And they were executed because the man went and got with this new chick, right? Now he had, I think, 2 children by like a previous woman or like 2 previous women. He got with the new chick. Bitch said, listen, this ain't gonna work because these kids are gonna, you know, get in between us, so we can't really form a nice bond because of them. These niggas threw the kids off of the roof. Dude threw the 2 children off of the 15th floor, came downstairs and tried to act as if he was all hurt and shit, and he doesn't know how it happened. Man, they executed his ass and her ass too. So this goes to show you, like, there's a lot of like wild ass shit. Like there was a story that an article that I saw. The headline said this woman left her son, who was like very young, in a room for like I don't know how long it was, where there was no heat till his foot turned black, full of frostbite. You know, like you think about these shits and you're like, what the fudge? What's wrong with people, man? What's wrong with these people? Because you're not like the thing about it is when you look at how she either black, Hispanic, or Native American. I mean, some of them are like, you know, maybe white or whatever. But you're like, yo, where the freaking, you know, East Indian women that are doing this shit? They're not. Maybe they are. I don't know. It's not being reported though. Okay. But the point is, especially today, where you can have, there was another video of a woman who had her baby, like she was shopping somewhere. She had a baby in just diapers, right? In the freaking frozen aisle section. The baby's shivering and shit. She throwing the products into the cart, and like people like recording her, like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, where's his clothes at? Why are you bringing her? She out here trying to defend herself. That's my baby. That's my son. And man, I think child services took the baby away from her and shit. She went on social media talking about she's mad because these people went and got her child taken away from her. Got her child taken away from her or some shit like that. And it's like, yo, what's wrong with people, man? People are crazy as hell nowadays. If back then mothers were actually mothers and they even resorted to eating their children because they were that hungry, what you think is going to happen to these kind of people today? You know? Everything good? Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Back in second edge. Or yeah, second edge.
Second Ezra 15 and 6. Because unrighteousness have taken the upper hand on earth. And
15, read back up. You were at the plagues.
Verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I'll bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
That's what the Lord said he's going to bring. And he's getting ready to bring that now. You can already see it, right? A lot of people are not prepared for that. We just read some examples of what that famine looks like. Now, matter of fact, hold that and jump to second Ezra. He mentioned famine, right? Jump to second Ezra 16, and let's see what it says at 24. That's 16:24. Check 16 and 18. Might be that, but there's also one that says like there be many that shall perish of famine on the earth. It's like either an 18 or a couple verses under that. All right.
Second Ezra 16 and 22. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
Right. And you notice that he's speaking in future tense, right? Because this is something that he saw. So he's saying, look, a lot of people are going to, it's like if somebody witnessed, something and maybe they had a vision of it and then they know that this is what's going to happen in the future. And so that's why he's speaking that way. He said, for many of them that dwell on the earth, not just in America, not just in America, not just in one part of Europe, but across the earth are going to die of what? Read that. How you got a jacket on the top and you wearing shorts? Might as well come out with a t-shirt. Anyway, go ahead.
For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the others that escape the hunger.
Famine, once again, lack of food. Go ahead. Others that escape the hunger.
And others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy.
So the Lord is pretty much saying you ain't going to have an escape. You're either going to die of a famine, or even if you escape the famine, meaning that you have food to eat, somebody's going to find you and that's going to be the end of you. All right. So now let's go back to 2 Ezra 15.
Second Ezra 15 and 6. Because unrighteousness hath taken the upper hand on earth, and the wickedness knoweth no bounds.
Right. And that's why the Lord said he's going to bring those things. Because unrighteousness and wickedness have just skyrocketed. People don't regard the laws of the Heavenly Father. They don't even regard regular moral laws. Morality is like at an all-time low. You're wondering like, damn, bro, like, if you're not even going to regard the laws in the scriptures, like at least use some common sense, like have some human natural laws. Like everybody has a moral compass in their heads, where murder is wrong. What I'm saying? It's wrong to do certain things. But America has taught people to completely disregard that, to be just like wild, barbaric beasts. No morals, no ideals, no none of that. They're just like straight up gone. Straight up gone. And this is the reason why the Lord brought the flood upon the earth, back during the time of Noah, because he said that what the earth was full of violence, and it repented him that he had made man. He was like, yo, like shit, I want to disown you all. Now, speaking of low morals, there was an article that came out, right? Now this happened not too long ago, but you had, I think, like either like I don't remember if he was a senator at the time or still a former senator or whatever. But you basically had these people, these two individuals, I think they were part of the Senate, I don't know, I'm not sure, that went and shot a graphic scene of two men, which was themselves, engaging in sexual activity inside of the Senate room, the Senate floor, recorded that shit, right? They came out and said, well, we didn't find any evidence of any crime being committed, so we're just gonna let them go. Everything is all good. You mean to tell me two of your so-called senators or former senators or whatever title they held went and shot a freaking graphic scene of them engaging in sexual activity in the so-called Senate room where all these important decisions are supposed to be made, and everything is all good, everything is all sweet? Nope, no, nothing there, nothing wrong to see here. But wait, your presidents get sworn in with their hands on a Bible, right? God bless America. In God we trust. Really? Same God that says that they ain't supposed to be doing shit like that. So it goes to show you really like where the moral of the land is. Everything good? Done. But yeah, let's go real quick to the book of since I mentioned that what's that, Isaiah 3 and 9. What's that there? Isaiah 3 and 9. And also let's get hold this and let's get Second Peter chapter 3, and we can start at 7. Yeah, let's see what that says.
This is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 9. The show of their countenance doeth witness against them, and they declared their sins as Sodom.
Yeah, they declared their sins as Sodom. Now we're gonna find out what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, but they declared their sin as Sodom. What was the main sin that Sodom and Gomorrah, the people over there were doing? All of that. That's it. Yeah, exactly. And what did the Most High do to them for that? Did he come there with give them a Grammy award? For the best actors, the best love makers and shit. He gave them a fire and brimstone that destroyed them all, right? Let's read that. I think that's in here, 2 Peter 3, and let's see what it says in 7. That's 2 Peter 3 in Revelation now. So like it says, right, they declare their sins of Sodom, and they do it very proudly. So I mean, if we were to sit here and list all the things that this place does that angers the Heavenly Father, we'd be here for quite some time. But all in all, this is why the Lord said He's going to bring that destruction, and ultimately that's why, or that's what leads to that dystopian future being reality. We read about dystopian, right? A time of suffering, terrific, not terrific, and like a horrific. Let me call that a horrific society. Exactly, post-apocalyptic. Well, what's going to be the apocalypse, and who's going to bring it? The Lord is going to bring the apocalypse as a form of judgment upon this place. That's what we just read about: famine and death and the sword and all those things. Those things happen in the post-apocalyptic world, and the Lord is going to cleanse this place by bringing that apocalypse. Got it? All right.
This is 2 Peter 3 and 7. But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
Right, destruction of ungodly men. Go ahead.
But beloved, be not ignorant.
Jump down. Next verse.
Verse 9?
Yeah.
Verse 9. The Lord is not slack concerning His promise.
Yeah.
But the day of the Lord will come as
Yeah.
Verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night.
Let me see where you at. See, so it's called that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, let's see what-
And in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Yeah, yeah. And how's that going to happen? By way of the fire that the Lord is going to bring. And when it says the earth, it doesn't mean the whole entire planet. It means the land. Okay, when you go into the Hebrew, the word is aratazah, which means land. So there's certain parts of the earth that are going to be, destroyed by fire. Go ahead.
Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversations and godliness?
Right. So knowing that these things are going to happen, seeing that these things are going to happen, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation, meaning a holy lifestyle, separate from this wicked world and godliness. You got, look, man, these people are both in an ignorant sense and in a proud sense, pagans. They like willfully and willingly. There's some people that you warn. All right, this is what's gonna. You can't celebrate Christmas, for example. That's off. That's pagan. They really don't care. They still have like. Ask them, why is it that you feel this need or this sense of urge to like set up a Christmas tree and decorate it and put a star on the top? It's not complete until you put the star on top and then put the presents under. Why in that order? Why don't you put the presents on the table somewhere? You know what I'm saying? Why do like everybody does the same thing a certain kind of way? It's a ritual. You know? It's not when you set up a Christmas tree, there's a way to do it. You're not doing it right if you're not setting up the tree and putting the star on the top and putting the little decorations around it and then putting the gifts under it and then the next morning running there and opening the presents and shit like that. You got any media in the background? All right.
Hey,
Can you hear?
Shalom. Yeah, Khan. Y'all can hear me?
Con.
Beautiful. Y'all about Shemia Shabrakatam.
So it's a ritual that they're doing. And yet they do it so joyfully, and you tell them, look, this is off. You're not supposed to be doing it. Well, it's for the kids. All right. If something is, first off, hold on a second. If something is wicked and you're not supposed to do it, and you're gonna get punished for doing it, you're gonna tell me that it's for the kids. So you're gonna do it's like saying, well, poison is bad. If you drink it, you're gonna die. Oh, but it's okay because it's for the kids. So you wanna poison the kids instead? Anyway, let's go back to second entrance. And the thing is, like, the Lord blessed us with the ability to see afar off. So when we talk about this dystopian future, we already see it. But you have certain people that they won't see it until it actually hits them right in the face. Maybe until they cut the corner and get hit in the face with a pipe, And now they're like, oh shit, this is what it feels like to get hit with a pipe. This shit don't feel good. They losing blood, they on the ground and shit, and there's just people running around. Nobody's helping you. Society today is already that bad, but like, don't expect people to come to your aid and help you in that. The only help is gonna be from the Heavenly Father, by Hashem Yahushua. Yep.
A lot of
Right.
the brother has
Sorry,
something.
you finish it, man.
Now, I was just want to say a lot of people, y'all thinking it can't happen because this is the virgin daughter right here y'all living in. All right, so y'all know that for so long y'all been protected, and y'all think it's gonna keep going. So y'all think it can't happen. That's all I want.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, Khan, you made a point about how, the people of this world, especially the Israelites, they don't understand that though you're in captivity, even in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, it tells you that we shouldn't learn the way of the heathen, right? So there's a lot of customs that, has become accustomed to Israelites, right? But it's really not something that we should be partaking in, all right? This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and verse 21. It says, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed, meaning your children, right? For those who say, oh, we're doing it for the children. Well, you're supposed to protect your children from this type of shit. All right. So it says what? And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Lord Yahweh thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh thy power. So the Lord is telling us that no matter where you go, it doesn't matter about, oh, Lord, you gave us these ordinances while we're in the wilderness before we took over the land of Israel. you know, but now we're in captivity, so we're just going to take off the heathens and how they operate and shit like that. Well, the Lord's still going to jack you up because the law is the law. All right, the law is put in place for the Israelites no matter where you go. It's there's a reason why it's called a rule. All right, when you look at a ruler, that's why it's called a rule. It keeps you on a straight path. It's straight for a reason. Okay, that's why you have a ruler. A ruler is there to have the people following, or the people that he's ruling over, to keep in a straight way. And the laws are created to keep us in a straight way. All right, everything else is going to lead you to a crooked way, as you can see the people of Babylon today. All right, Babylon meaning confusion. All right, so that's why we put an emphasis on actually going back to these statutes and commandments, because literally when you practice them, you're living a better life, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But our people are so destroyed, as it tells you in Hosea the 4th chapter, right, that they're destroyed for lack of knowledge. Now the knowledge is being brought to you so you can get out of your destructive state, but they're still being rebellious. All right, that's why the Lord said He's going to make our foreheads hard against their foreheads, because this is just part of the deal. You know, you're going to go out there, you're going to speak to my people and speak in their ears in the words of prophecy, and they still going to rebel against you. So that, hey, it is what it is. That's why we know we are doing the right thing, because everything the Lord said we're going to be doing and experiencing, we're experiencing and doing. All right. So, hey, if you can't see it, then it is what it is. But the Lord specifically commanded us not to let our any of our seed pass through the fire. Okay. Go through the fire to Molech, right? Those child sacrifices, right? Those abortions and so many different things, right? Neither shall thou profane the name of the Lord Yahweh thy power. All right. So when you engage in all these different things, these are things that's accustomed to the heathen. You're profaning the Heavenly Father's name, and that's a problem. All right. And a lot of people are going to be destroyed for that. All right. But you got it.
Yeah, God, very good point. Very good point. That's right. Keep on. Second verse.
This is 2 Ezra 15 and 7. Then saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching the wickedness which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves.
Right. So the Lord said, my long suffering is pretty much going to come to an end. You know, I'm not going to hold my tongue. I'm not going to let it slide anymore. That's what it means. You know, and the things that they wickedly exercise themselves. So these are the things that they set their minds and their hearts to do. And the Lord is basically saying He ain't gonna let it slide no more. You know, right?
Behold,
Not no more.
behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me.
Right, and that's the blood of the elect. Real quick, let's get on. Wow, what's that? Whew, Ezekiel 9:4. So many precepts flown in the head, man. It's like, yeah,
That's the spirit. I was going to bring that out. That's heavy. You got the brother.
how you go? All right, bring it out, bring it out.
No. Let him bring it out. It's fine.
Yeah, he can break it down. Bring it up. So you are.
Now, Gabar, you could bring it out. I'll break it down.
Oh, okay. This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations, all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Right. So exactly what the brother was bringing out earlier, all right, is also written in the book of Ezekiel. Now, I wanted to bring out the root word of the word sigh. Okay, if we could find that in the online etymology dictionary. Okay, it says what? It says to groan, to sigh, to mourn. Okay, and hey, trust and believe brothers have been through situations where, you know, you just sit there and you think about the Babylon, how it is. Like, you really think of the captivity, you think of the bullshit we got to deal with, a lot of things that's just unrighteous that we cry to the Lord about, you know, that most people don't even look at as a problem because they're so it's just normalized to them. You know, the confusion is normal to them, the madness, the frustration is just, oh, that's just what it is, the modus operandi or the status quo. Oh, it's just how things run. No, that's not how things are supposed to be. That is why these elites have a problem with us bringing out the truth of the Bible, because now it's bringing people to the true way of living. There's an understanding as to why all this hell is happening. Why the hell are we going through all this bullshit? You see, there's a reason for that. All right. So again, going back to Ezekiel 9 and 4, the Lord is putting a mark, meaning when you go into that word mark, it goes into the Hebrew word tawat, okay, which means what? A mark of exemption from judgment. Okay, so that judgment, that same mark that the men of the Lord are going to be putting, the Lord is putting on the men of the Lord and their loved ones, ultimately the elect, is the same thing that He put on Noah. That's the same mark that He put on Noah. That mark of exemption. Okay, now was it a physical mark that everybody saw Noah having, like maybe on his arm or his back, or on top of his head? No. Okay, but it's a spiritual mark. It's an exemption from judgment that's coming. Okay, so Noah got that exemption, that pass. Lord willing, we get that same pass because we're making the Lord's ears heavy. We're highlighting all the wickedness. It ain't just us. You got the angels doing the same thing. They be on patrol all the time. We see them all the time. Okay, you might have angels flying over your building, angel flying around you. You might be in a parking lot somewhere, and the angels is flying around, and then you just for some weird reason that very moment is when you look up and be like, oh shit, it's a chariot. See? So that's them saluting and say, hey, shalom. They tap your spirit. And hey, that's right, all right. So, hey, that's the same thing. But guess what? Those angels are also putting a mark on the men. Sometimes you might be in a heavy spirit, and then the Lord just show you something spiritual. You might see 144 something, it just confirms everything. Oh, Lord, that damn what I needed that. Something so small could lift you up so greatly, you don't even know what to do with yourself. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, all this crying, all this sighing, all this groaning, all this mourning that we do, all right, in the name of righteousness, guess what? The Lord is going to reward us. Okay? And that's why He said, with thine eyes shalt thou see the fall of thine enemies. Okay, the destruction of thine enemies. So we waiting for that. When we go, Lord willing, be those who are granted that mark, all right, that thawa, the Lord makes us an exemption from that judgment. Guess what? We're gonna be up there watching this place get destroyed. We've had visions of that. We've heard different things. We've read the scriptures, right? So we know what's coming. We believe what's coming. Okay, and we're preparing for what's coming. All right, unlike the rest of the people. And part of the preparation is giving the warning. Okay, Ezekiel 9 and Ezekiel 3:17. Okay. But yeah, just want to tap on that real quick. Going into that word sigh. Okay, because that's what we do. We literally do that. When we come out here and we're doing these videos, that's a form of sighing. Okay, we're making the Lord's ears heavy and highlighting all the wickedness that's going on around. Okay, because it says what? The boy, you can bring that back real quick.
From the top.
Yeah.
All right, this is Ezekiel 9, verse 4. It reads, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
That's right. That's right. So the main point that we're going to be sighing and crying is all because of the abominations. All right. The things that are profane, the things that are outside of the temple, the things that are not adequate in the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's the status quo in Babylon. All right. It's just literally rebellion against the Heavenly Father and His Word, the Heavenly Father and His Son. Okay. That's what you see, bro. You see that shit every day. All right. We just bringing your attention to it, but it's there. It's everyone is there. You could see it. People just pretend to, they just turn a blind eye, like they say. All right. But ultimately, you're complacent. All right. You turn a blind eye and acting like you don't see it. It's still happening. You ain't call it out. The Most High is gonna have questions for you too. All right. Especially you Israelites out there. You're not pressing on the real important things. You rather coming against the men who are pressing on the real issues. The Lord got something for you too. All right. Because the same thing we going through is the same thing they put him through when he was here 2,000 years ago. When you read the scriptures, all throughout the scriptures, you got niggas coming up against the Lord, man. So imagine now. We're not surprised. All right, we're not surprised, but you got it, brothers.
Second Ezra 15 and 9. I will avenge them speedily, save the Lord, and will require the innocent blood from their hands.
Right, so the men that signed the cry for the abominations that have been done in the midst thereof, like we just read earlier, like it's that Lord says He's going to hear that, He's going to avenge them speedily. Okay, just like He did, when He delivered Lot, He destroyed, because it said Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. The filthy life of I mean, these people are so far gone. They were trying to do things to the angels that came over there. That's it. That's it. That's it. You know, they were trying to do things to the angels that came over there. You know, so the Lord's like, nah, this place got to go. They got to go. Right?
Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter.
And that's because they have, you know, like sheep, right? When you take sheep to the slaughter, you know, they pretty much go there. They don't buck up. You know, they're let up in there, misled, I should say, right? So that's pretty much what the Lord is saying here. They're led as a flock to the slaughter. These people are like sheep being led to the slaughter. You know, have absolutely no idea what's going on. They just following whatever the crowd says. That's how sheep move. You know, wherever the majority of the sheep are, that's where all of them going. Even if they all fall into a ditch, they gonna keep following each other up in there. You know, and we here to tell you, no, don't go that way. Don't go that way. You know, we've dealt with sheep before. They can be pretty annoying and hard headed. You try to get them to go in one direction, and they all running in this other direction. You know what I'm saying? You're like, no, not that. Oh, these niggas take off and they going all the way this way. It's like, bro, get your ass in here. You know?
Hey, remember that video, that sheep that was in a ditch, and then the people came in, removed it, and then the moment they took it out the ditch, the motherfucker jumped right back into
Jump
the
right
ditch. You like, motherfucker, what the fuck? Like, we took, like, man, don't remove your ass, and then you gonna do this shit again? That sheep.
Yeah, but that's Jake. That's like when Jake goes to jail, comes out of jail, goes back the next day. You know, the nigga been in jail for 15 years, comes back out, and now he's back up in there. You know, they just don't learn. You know, but that's why if you actually pay attention to the characteristics of like sheep, you understand why the Heavenly Father compared the nation of Israel to lost sheep. Okay, but if you got anything, you know, just bring it up.
How
Hey, lost sheep because we didn't have a shepherd for so long. But
That's it.
now the elect, we have a shepherd. That's why Yahushua said, "My sheep heareth my voice, and they what? And they do follow me." Right. So
Yep.
when you have a shepherd, you're no longer lost because now you have guidance. You have a sense of direction. You have a sense of protection. Right. That's what Yahushua is going to give his elect, which are his sheep. All right. In the time of Jacob's trouble, it tells you that in Revelation, the 3rd chapter, I believe the 10th verse. Okay, that he said he's going to keep us in the hour of temptation because ultimately those sheep that's not of the elect or Yahushua's flock, guess what? They're gonna be taken by the time of the hour of temptation, man. All right, scriptures tell you that there's gonna be a great number that's gonna be taken, all right, in that day. So we are pretty much approaching that day. You know, I've been seeing videos, you know, Corey been going into it, a lot of brothers been going into it as well. There's like a whole bunch of articles just touching on end time prophecy, man. You know, so if you paying attention, hey, yo, you don't gotta go far. Just watch brothers' videos, man. You being tuned to what's going on and how it pertains to prophecy in the scriptures. You know, this is the most important time to be paying attention to the prophecies, man, and to the prophets. Okay, this is the most important time because guess what? These devils are doing what they got to do, and the most important thing they're doing is distracting the masses from what's actually going on. Okay, because they need you distracted so you can be destroyed. That's the point. Okay, distracted. All right, freaking desensitized, ultimately for what? Destruction, man. All right, and it's all done by design of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, a sword is definitely being furbished and is getting ready to be given into the hand of the slayer. All right, so get ready. You got it.
Yeah, Khan. That's a good point. I was just about to say that. Like the elder said, Yahushua is described, is mentioned as the good shepherd because you got a lot of evil shepherds out here. You know, because a lot of people out here are hirelings. But Yahushua even warned about that. You know, many shall come in my name, saying, "I am the anointed." You know, and they're gonna say, you know, go here, go here. Don't follow them because it's a very interesting analogy, right? That we are likened unto sheep and Yahushua as our shepherd, but then at the same time, the teachers, the prophets, are also likened unto shepherds, and the rest of them as sheep. You know, but to the at the end of the day, guess what? Just like you have good shepherds, you have hirelings. Okay, and the scriptures talk about a hireling. A hireling is somebody, because remember, in the ancient world, you know, you had certain jobs that were like more career jobs, right? Like, okay, if you were a carpenter, you had like something you would do. Like you would open your shop, people would come, oh, I need this, I need that, you do that for them. You had certain people that fix shoes. That was a very important thing. Today it's done in the factories and sweatshops and whatever, and then they bring it out in bulk and you go to Nike and shit. Today, people don't actually fix shoes. They go and buy a new one. They throw, if the shit is messed up, they throw it out and they go and buy a new one. In the ancient world, you walk in with like yeah, sandals and slippers looking things. If this shit rips, you take it there, they fix it up for you, and then for a price, and then they give you your thing. So you had like certain people who they were like crafts, like the Apostle Paul. He was a tent maker. These were all crafts, right? And then also you had like the markets, women that like they would bring like the billet and all these things, and they would come and sell it, right? The carpenters, and this would all happen in the marketplace, the agora, okay. But at the same time, you would have people who maybe didn't have the ability to do those things. So what would they do? They would be in the marketplace looking for work, and then you would have certain people that are in need would go to the marketplace and find them. Today, you go and apply on a job website and they review your resume and shit like that. Back then, they come to the place, they see you idle, they know that, okay, maybe you're looking for some work. Hey, you looking for some work? So if this guy says, all right, I have a lot of sheep, I need somebody to like take them out to graze and do all these things, they would hire you. That is a hireling, right? For the most part. A hireling, he's getting paid for the day, for the job that he's doing. An hireling is going to say, all right, I'm going to, I have some skills with sheep. I'll take your sheep out. I'll take them out to graze. But I'm getting paid for what I'm doing today. Well, after that, I'm going home. I am not going to risk my life for your sheep. Hell no. Number one, they're not my sheep. Number two, I'm getting paid for today. If I see a wolf, that's their sheep's ass. That's not my ass. That's your sheep's ass. I'm gone. So that's why the scriptures talk about a hireling. A hireling is not going to lay down his life for the sheep. The good shepherd is going to lay down his life for the sheep because the shepherd actually builds a relationship with the sheep, where they trust him and he actually knows the sheep. You may think it's like, if you got 100 sheep, how the hell you know every one? You'd be surprised. They know each one. They know how many they are. And guess what? When they bring them back to the sheep pen or the sheepfold, they would have their rod and they would cause the sheep to pass under the rod and they will count each and every one of them. So they're all right, everyone here is good. We're all good. If they were missing one of them, they would go and find that one sheep and then they would come back. Okay? So the shepherd, when he actually saw a wolf or he saw an animal like that, he would protect the sheep. He ain't gonna say, here you go. He would go and he would, drive it away. He might lose his life. Yeah, like David. Went up in there and went after that lion and that bear for that sheep. So that is a true shepherd. Now when you take that situation, because you got to explain how the mechanics work back then to make a point. So when you take that situation of the relationship of the shepherd and the hireling, and then you apply it to today, we are metaphorical shepherds. Obviously, the children of Israel are not actual sheep, but they're people, but they're likened onto sheep, and we're likened onto shepherds. So our job today is when we come out here and we teach you and we go into these lessons, but we also warn you against false prophets. What do they call them? Wolves in sheep's clothing, right? So when they come and they're a threat to you by misleading you and give you false information, we come and we tell you, no, don't listen to that. They're lying because that's going to lead you to basically to go off and get destroyed. So that's how we defend, the sheep today. We don't just say, well, you go and do whatever you want to do, or we teach you a lie because we went and got a bag from Esau Edom. So now we're gonna lead you the wrong way. That's entirely. He's not gonna risk his life for the sheep. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Khan, and it's a great point that you made. A hireling will really sacrifice the sheep's lives just to protect his, because he's there for the money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So to him, it's like I got to make sure I get home. And hey, shit,
Yes.
if one sheep dies, guess what?
Son.
They reproduce anyway. You know what I'm saying? Or I could just tell the owner, hey, this what happened, and I'm going home now. I'm checked out. But a real shepherd, bro, nah, fuck out of here. He's on some like, nah, bro. Every single sheep matters. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that natural, hospitality and love for animals, you always get that vibe where it's like you will be willing to put your life on the line for your animal. How much more a shepherd, man, and especially sheep that are so, fragile and they depend wholeheartedly on the shepherd. Sheep can't guide themselves. They're not like goats that just, take off and do whatever the fuck they want to do and come right back home. A sheep would dead ass go through the same path every single day and still get lost. You see? So that's why you need to, you need to have a shepherd who's there to give him that guidance and show them where to go. You know, if not, nigga, you gonna lose all your sheep. They're gonna be turning. Let's say they turn left today, the next tomorrow. Everyone, hey, what's going on? Where the sheep keep going at? Like, what? You need to have a good shepherd. You know, who's gonna protect them. He's gonna give them the right food, right? He's gonna give them the right protection. He's gonna give them the right guidance. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of thing. Make sure that they're healthy. You know, if a sheep is not right, you know, sometimes you might see, you look at their behind, it looks watery. You be like, oh shit, what's going on? That means he's not healthy. You got to isolate him from the rest of the herd, and then take care of him on the side and so on and so forth until he's back on his feet again. You might have one sheep that one lamb that might get trampled when the whole herd is coming through. For some reason you go in there, be like, oh shit, just laying there like, palpitating and shit like that. Yo, pick him up and then take care of him and then bring him back to the herd, to the fold. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a shepherd. A true shepherd, that is. But for a hireling, ain't no responsibility. Just be there and then leave when you're done. Like, that's it. Whether they die, whether they make it, it doesn't matter to them. And that's what you see with these other Israelite camps out there, man. And the Lord is exposing them. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, mentioning the shepherd and the diligence of the shepherd towards the sheep. You also have German shepherd, which is a top and his diligence towards guarding and protecting, and also sheep herding, because the German shepherd is used to keep the sheep in line, and to ward off the wolves. They have shepherd dogs. And German Shepherd is one of the dogs that do keeping them in line. If you check out the Romans of today's system with the police system, they use the German Shepherd as the top of the line dog for protecting, and it's not like it's getting paid to do what it does.
Right.
It's the proper, whatever they use, training or whatever. That's it.
Right. I just have a quick precept since you're saying, talking about the leaders. Right. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 8. I'll read in the KJV and then after the NLT. It says in the KJV, remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as the he-goats before the flock. Now, another aspect of shepherding is also you use goats to lead the flock a certain place, because sheep are known as very timid animals. Like if they see something that they're not sure of, they won't move. So they need a leader to lead them. Like, let's say there's a stream of water or something, right? And it's looking kind of violent and all that. The sheep will act on timid going on. So you need the he-goat to go over there. The sheep like, oh, okay. Like you were saying, like Israel is like sheep. They see someone do something, monkey see, monkey do. So it's like, okay, we see the goat go over there. All right, we're going over there too. It's shape. So that's why it says, again, the he-goats will be those one with those men, the leaders of the people. I'll read it again. It says, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. I read in the NLT as well. It says, but now flee from Babylon. And when it says flee, it doesn't mean actually leaving this place, but leaving this place mentally. I believe that's the same as Micah 2:10. It says, leave the land of the Babylonians. Again, not literal, spiritual. Like male goats at the head of the flock, lead my people home again. So direct the people in the direction that's supposed to go, which is Israel. Not literally, spiritual.
Yeah, I got something. I'm not sure if y'all brought this out already, but Psalm 23 and 1. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water. So the Lord being our shepherd, he also set up shepherds under him to teach us. So Yahweh Shai being the main shepherd of the flock of Israel. And the point that I wanted to get is in the 4th verse. But I'll read the 3rd verse anyway. It says, he restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Right. So that's why names Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai. That's how we have the truth. It's all about the namesake. The Lord is going to save us for his namesake, to preserve his good name. Because he made a promise, and the Lord is not a man that he should lie, right? So it says here, the 4th verse is the point. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, which is America, Babylon the Great, and in general just represents a very bad predicament. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And that's kind of what I wanted to get into, was the rod and the staff, because the shepherd would have the walking staff,
and then he could use that to guide the sheep and keep order. And also the rod, the shepherd's rod, which would have a crook, so it would usually be like this, but it would have that little curve at the end. And what you could do with that rod was you could hold the sheep back from certain things. You could bring them back in. You could chastise them, correct them, examine them. So there's a lot of different ways that he can use that rod, and that rod, which is likened unto this truth, likened unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, to our leadership. Having that rod and that staff is comforting, and that's what keeps us in order and protects us. Because you could also use the rod and the staff to ward off enemies to the flock.
Oh, I mean, he was pretty much gonna say it, but I'll just say it anyway. Pretty much, yeah. The scripture is now the spiritual rod, because not only did the shepherd have the rod and the staff, he also had a club, and the club would sometimes they fit it with nails to ward off certain wolves. He also had David had it where he used against Goliath. I think it's like a slingshot or something like that.
Yeah.
You'd use that sometimes, fill it with rocks, which he had. So sometimes you could use it, and like sometimes you fling it in the direction of the sheep to get their attention if they're warding off. So sometimes applying that to the scriptures, using certain books or precepts in the scriptures. Let's just use Cat Williams for an example. Cat Williams got a lot of people's attention, but what? We could use the scripture as a sling. It's like, hey, yo, stop paying attention to all that Cat Williams shit. Where you knew that shit? Bring out certain truths or bring out certain articles that what? Hey, get your attention back over here. Yeah, what Cat Williams saying is true, but yo, forget all that shit. Like, focus up. Sometimes Israel is going off with like right now, what is it? Like with Sakari saying that, Apostle Paul's words are not authoritative. Right. You could use the scriptures like a club with the nails in it. Hey, yo, you're attacking him now because you attacking the truth. So you could use the scriptures as in a spiritual sense as those weapons that the shepherd had, as a club, as a rod or a staff or a sling.
Right. That's right. Stop it. All right, let's go back to Second Ezra 15.
Second Ezra 15 and 11. But bring them out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm.
Go back, start off at 10 again.
Verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will now no longer suffer them to dwell in Egypt.
Now here's the thing though, right? At the time, the bulk, right? Speaking in that sense, this was like post-Egypt, right? This is like generations after we had been delivered from Egypt. Okay, so what the Egypt that is being referred to here is really talking about America. You can read Isaiah 19 for that, which it speaks about Egypt, but it's really talking about America. Okay, as well as Revelation 11 and 8. So the Lord is saying here, He's no longer going to suffer us to dwell in the land of Egypt. Go ahead.
But bring them out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and destroy all the land thereof.
So it goes to show you that this is another Egypt, right? But in our history, the whole nation never went back to Egypt and got delivered from there, and then the Lord smote Egypt again like He did with plagues before. That didn't happen. And that's because it's not talking about that ancient landmass of Egypt. It's talking about now, here in America. The Lord is going to hit this place with the plagues that He hit ancient Egypt with. That's why He said, like before. Right? Go ahead.
First point, just checking out history. When did Egypt get hit with plagues again?
Right.
Because remember, we have the scriptures. The scriptures is a historical book as well. When did it write down? Oh, Egypt got hit with plagues again the second time. We have it written down that was hit with plagues the first time. Where's the second time?
Also, when did Israel go into ships into Egypt again?
Right.
So you got to look at it spiritually, Egypt.
Yeah, that's how the Spirit guides you, because there's these key parts and words in these scriptures that let you know whether it's prophetic or not. Because you're like, well, and then that's why you gotta in order to understand prophecy, you gotta know history, because you can then verify and say, no, that actually didn't happen historically. The name of the place is historical, but the events that are described as happening there didn't actually happen there. It's actually talking about another place, another place. Okay.
The place has like attributes. Like I think is it Nahum? It talks about Syria, the mother of harlots.
Right.
That isn't actually a harlot.
Right,
No.
exactly.
But it's carrying those attributes.
Yep. Good point. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the and punishment that God shall bring upon it.
Yeah, that's what the Lord is doing. He's doing that here and now. You know, he's shaking up the foundation. I mean, this place is a joke, man. Look, like I was saying earlier, if you were a foreign country and you're looking at this place and you're like, what the hell happened to America? You know what I mean? Like, these people are shooting freaking, more sexual activities in the freaking Senate House, and they're saying they found no crime with that. Let's leave it as is. They're good. And you're looking at this shit like the world is looking at this place like, the hell's going on here? You got your freaking president flying across the country, farting on hot mic and shit, falling asleep, eating ice cream. I mean, what's up with this guy, man? You know what I mean?
Cocaine in the White House.
Yeah. Y'all looking at this dude like, what the fuck? Like, the White House got to come and, sweep up. This guy says some wild shit. They got to come and clarify it, And I mean, the dude goes to, when you catch this guy on camera, he goes to these different, whatever. They catch him every time. And it's like, they asking him a question, and he's out here looking for the little girls and shit. And he finds one of them, and he's like sniffing her hair and shit. So he's whispering to her and shit. And it's almost like you're disturbing him when you asking him a question. Here it is. They're saying, so, Mr. Biden, what are we gonna do in response to the strikes in the Middle East region? And he's saying, yeah, we'll respond very effectively. So what was your name again? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, that's the spirit that you say that, because in the UN, their Agenda 2030, what they want to do is they want to normalize children having sex with adults. Okay, they want to normalize. They said children should have sexual partners. I was reading about that this morning. I was like, nah, what's going on here? Why we got people in the UN pushing for pedophilia, and then now you start to understand why this type of shit is being pushed around, because guess what? The Jays is part of their custom, it's part of their culture. Okay, they read the Talmud, it's all in there. That's what they do. Why do you think Aleister Crowley, one of his main themes of Satanism was to pop little children in the backside, man. You
yeah,
know, like he said, if you want to obtain he said the greatest form of power that you can obtain is from having, penetrating a little boy in the anus, man. And they actually get off on shit like this. 1 year old, 2 years old, literally kids, bro. Sometimes, yeah, there's a lady who was doing a testimony, and she was saying that the things that these devils do is so horrific and satanic. All right, it shows them that they are indeed of the synagogue of Satan, man. And she said, yo, kids straight from the womb. You got these rabbis, whatever. They be popping these little boys, man. They destroy the morale, the very essence of being a child, the innocency. They destroy all that, man. There was one guy who was doing a testimony. He said, yo, he walked in one time and he see this little ass kid, like 3, 4 years old, bouncing on top of an old ass man's lap on
yo,
some biting shit. So he looked at
yo,
it. He's like, he approached the man. He said, yo, my man, what's going on? Why are you abusing this child? And the guy looked like, you said, the Biden this disturbance. He looked at him like, yo, you disturbing my peace right now. I'm
yeah,
busy. He said, yo, bro. And he snatched the kid off of him and he put the kid to the side. He's like, yo, that's a little child, bro. What are you doing? And he said, look around. This is what we do out here. If you come into this building, this is what you're here for. We know what's up. You know? And all these underground tunnels, all this extra shit, the Lord's going to expose all of that. And then guess how he's going to end it off with fire. Thermonuclear fire, man. All right? Because you devils are wicked and you wanna push it upon the world to accept it. And those who stand against it, we're looked at as crazy. But guys, that's okay. That's okay. There's going to be a war in this place because of this shit. All right? And when it comes, bro, you're going to see a lot of heads are going to roll, man. You see. Just watch. All right, just want to tap into that because that's what they're doing. All the shit that you seen on TV is to desensitize the public to this type of bullshit, man. And you got people that just look at it and it's like, oh, they got drag and they got this, and it's like, dude, Cat Williams comes out and exposes these devils and their homosexuality that goes on in the industry. We've been telling on these people for all these years, man. There's nothing new. All right, it's just being put at a certain time, but guess what? People are still living like ain't nothing going on. Okay, now you're starting to see why the destruction is gonna come as a thief in the night to these devils, man. All right, to these punk ass people over here because they're not paying attention. Okay, all hell is breaking loose. Countries are testing missiles. They say the UK is testing missiles to guard against Russia. All this extra shit, and yet you still got people sitting around here talking about the stupidest things, man. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, this is to add on to your point what you're saying about because although we laugh, but really it's really not funny because like you think about the nations like this is how your president look, this is how your country looks. Your country looks really stupid and foolish. And this is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 14. I'm reading in the NLT. It says the Lord had set a spirit of foolishness on them. So that's how they're acting. It's like here it is, you have your president stumbling all over the place. Like you were saying, here it is, he's people are trying to get his attention. He's over sniffing a child and things like it's like, yo, the country is an array. The country needs help. And here it is, you're just sometimes people are asking questions, you're falling asleep, you're looking zoned out. Here it is, you're the leader of we know he's not really the leader, but on camera, you're the leader of the United States of America. And here it is, it's like, what's up with you? Come on, pick it up, get up. You look at Putin looks strong, ready to go. Xi Jinping looks, ready to go. It's like everybody else looks fine, ready to go. But here it is, America is looking like a troopy person, like falling on themselves. Your president is sleeping on himself.
Slipping on airplanes and shit.
Right, slipping off the chairs and stuff. I mean, off the steps. If that's how the king looks, how does the people look? Because like it says in Sirach 10, as the king is, so are the people. So if your president is acting like this, looking like this, how do the people look? Your cabinet is full of men with dresses on and things like that. What type of establishment is this? This place looks retarded. You look dumb as hell, pardon my language. And people just like, oh, okay, all right. It's like, yo, you expect these people to lead you somewhere? That's all.
Yep. Land backing off of Al-Haran's point a little bit earlier, he was mentioning the pedophilia, the sick and sadistic things they do. So this shows you the parallels between the ancient Canaanites and what happens now. So it's real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 12:3. You hated the people. It's in the GNT. You hated the people who lived in your holy land long ago because they did horrible things. They practiced magic and conducted unholy worship, like you had mentioned, Aleister Crowley. Different things. They practice witchcraft, and when they do these different rituals, there's certain acts that they have to do to please Satan on that left hand, and that's what they do now. So just like you have that's why Moloch is so big here, right? And you also have a lot of the ancient Canaanite deities. They pretty much worship the same ones and the same things that's associated with it. So this is like the ancient Canaanites coming back, but Esau's even worse. And you also have Joe Biden. He might be Caligula because of the shit that he does. Caligula was known to sleep with his sister, sleep with animals. They even did a movie on Caligula. And I had mentioned like that to my mom. For some reason, we were speaking about Rome. And she was like, oh, yeah, your father took me to see that movie. We walked out in the first 5 minutes. The shit was so nasty.
I think he tried to make a horse consul. Like kind of like a president kind of type shit.
Yeah.
It was wild.
And it got so bad, even the wicked ass Romans were like fed up. They was like, nah, man, this is too much. Yeah, catamites. They would have little boys on leashes walking around like they was out. In the ancient world, things was like much more in the open. Now they have to be secretive. So the same thing that happened then is happening now. It shows you that this is wrong.
I think they took him out, right? They assassinated him. So?
Right. Yeah.
He was too wild.
Yeah, he was too wild, so they just took him out. And that's a wicked society as in and of itself. And even they was like, whoa, too much. So that's America. America's wicked, but even they're saying like Biden is doing too much. He said the little boys would pull their hairs up on his leg and then they would put them down. What the fuck is that about, bro? Like Esau really need like an intervention. Like you got to sit down with Eli. Yo, what's up, man? What's going on with you, man? Like you want to talk about it? But yeah, Wisdom of Solomon 12:5. They killed children without mercy and ate the and ate the flesh and blood of human beings. They were initiated into secret rituals. So that's why you have now the secret, the left hand things, and Cat Williams exposing it. The crazy part about it is they're barely scratching the surface of what really goes on. So it's like soft disclosure. They're like, well, we're going to say certain things. Yeah, there was weird things happening, but we weren't sacrificing children. That's a conspiracy. But how deep does the rabbit hole really go? We know that there's things that's going on that we're not even aware of that's far more wicked and worse. But read on, it says, in which parents murdered their own defenseless children. It was your will for our ancestors to destroy these people, right? So imagine if you were on the block and you see an altar to child sacrifice, because people say that the Bible was too violent. But how would you handle people, a nation of people that were bred to worship a God where you have to sacrifice your own children? They're too far gone. They had to be wiped out, just like America's too far gone, because they had the thing about Balenciaga, right? And that came and went, and now you see all the stars, they still rocking it, rapping about it. It's like it never happened. And they had Baal, Balenciaga means basically Baal is king, if I'm not mistaken. Something about Baal, right? And then you had in the ad, it was basically, they had like a folder, which was a child predatory case, some court case of where like it was child predatory activities, and they put it in the actual ad. But then the celebrities are still going rep for this shit. So what has to happen to a society like this? It has to be melted. There's no other way.
Hey, but you know what's interesting about what the brother just brought out is that it's funny because it also exposes that these devils really truly are the Edomites of the Bible, because when they do it, it's normalized. It's like people don't really go, there's no really outrage like that. Like, let a Jake do the shit and say the shit that these niggas do, and it'll be all hell breaking loose, because it's ingratiated in the minds of the world that Jake is not supposed to be doing that. Jake will do what wild wicked shit, but if it's pushed on the internet and media, then it's like, oh, okay, that's just that's just art, it's just music, it's just whatever. You see LeBron James putting up 666, oh, that's just it's sports, it's not really a big deal, you know but nigga, he has ties with the Jays. He learns from the Talmud. They teach him these kind of things. Why do you think he got all this fame in this world? You crazy? You think he's just that great? No, he's not even that good of a basketball player, if you really want to get technical with it. They put him out there for you, just like name of the president, I forget his name, but he said, for the so-called black community, we will give you your leaders. All right. So for us to be coming out here and pushing this truth out, it blows their minds to the umpteenth degree, because they're like, how, like what, like they got the truth, the very thing that they're not supposed to get, they got. Like, what the fuck are we doing? But going back to the point, when Biden is making statements like, what Bakar was saying, sniffing little kids and shit like that, you don't see no Jake going around on stage as a president doing shit like that. If they were to do, hey, it'll be over. It'll be a wrap. But Esau does it, and it's like, yeah, that's just them. They do the most wildest shit. Yeah, that's just them. Hey, white people, man, they be on some shit. Hey, man, before we even came into the truth, we always thought white people do crazy shit. So now it all makes sense, because that's just who they are. That's their nature. Okay, they are created to be the wicked. So anything that's abnormal, anything that's wicked, anything that's profane, they do it, and it's easy to understand. They niggas go to Bilderberg meetings, Bohemian Grove, cutting people up, eating their flesh, just outright like that, aborting babies, eating fetuses. Like, they do this shit. All right, it's not that hard to understand. They actually do it, and now they telling you about it. They put it in your face through the media, through the movies, to desensitize you, and people still, it goes over their heads. No, this is too much for them to actually. I can't believe that people are actually doing this type of shit. Yeah, that's why they call it the wicked, and that's why they're gonna be destroyed. All right, everything they do is opposing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's will, as it tells you in Second Thessalonians, the second chapter. Okay, so if it's written, the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Who the fuck is gonna be taking that role? It ain't us. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be taking that role. So somebody's gonna be doing it, and they're gonna be doing it proudly, coming out and telling you what their plans are. Look no further than the West. All right, so you don't need to do that much research to find out who's fulfilling the prophecy of the wicked of the earth, man. All right, and very soon, when they turn their eyes on you wicked ass people who don't want to see things, they'll show you. Like, we here, and you niggas been avoiding and ignoring us. Now we about to show you. We right in your face now. What you gonna do about it? Huh? What you gonna do about it? Exactly. All right, but you got it.
Yeah, that's when that dystopian future becomes reality. When because here's the thing, like you said, right? Like, as they make this more normalized, people like to turn a blind eye to it. But eventually, it'll be so normal that you'll find yourself in a situation where you're a victim of one of these things, and you turning around thinking, "Yo, this is crazy." Can somebody do something? They're gonna look at you like, "This is normal." What do you mean? What's so crazy about it? We've been showing you that this is what we're into for a long, long time now. Like, here it is. You would think, like, they got these crazy ass shits. You would think, like, in a normal Jake situation, if you like tap somebody's webcam or whatever, you would see them living their regular life. Maybe if they got their woman over, they would do the regular things that you would do with your woman. tap a freaking Edomite's camera, and you gonna see some wild ass shit. Dude, the woman gonna be there in his crib. He gonna walk to his room and come out with a freaking underwear, shoes on with rabbit ears and shit on his nose. Some weird ass shit. Like you ready to do the thing? The thing that I paid you for. Like, and you just like, bro, what happened to just dealing with a woman like a regular dude deals with a woman, man? Are you know what I'm saying? Like, what's wrong with these people? They pay. Look, man. They pay so much money to these like women to do some weird ass requests for them, and these women are like, what kind of weird ass shit? What's up with this guy, man? I thought you were just gonna, pay for a regular service.
This one woman I went to college with, she was my chem lab lab partner. And then we got to talking and having conversations about certain things, and she said that she was getting paid to kick Amalekites in the nuts. They would ask to get paid kicked in the nuts, or to basically get emasculated. Like that was what they were paying her to do. I'm like, what the fuck? You're fucking weird for doing that shit too. But I mean, shit, if they're paying, yeah. And she's like, all right, shit. But yeah, and that was, she said it was a common thing amongst the Ish community. They would frequently do that. So who else is the worst tribe, bro? Who else is the most wicked, bro? This is life experience shit. Can't nobody tell me that those are not the Amalekites, man. Can't nobody tell me that that's not the wicked. I don't see other nations doing that shit, bro. Only Edomites. The worst of the Edomites at that. They would ask to get crushed in the nuts. They would ask to get insulted, make him feel like he wasn't even a man.
Yeah, real quick, Sean, I got something real quick. I got you, bro.
Oh, yeah. Another point after that, flocking not nasty, but that even leads to, behind the back. I'll just say it that way, just in case. You also got what? Like you had mentioned, shitting on them. I don't know if brothers ever saw that video. I got tricked into watching it. The 2 girls, 1 cup. That type of stuff.
No, I never watched that. Thank God.
Yeah, don't ever watch it. But yeah, that type of stuff. So you see that, like, it gets over sexualized where people, because this place is full of demons, and like I said earlier, as the king is, so are the people. So the people have adopted this mindset of Esau Edom to where it's not enough to get penetrated in the proper way, in the proper place where you're supposed to. Now you gotta go up the backside now. You gotta do weird things like, hey, I'm gonna throw up on you. There's stories about it. Right. You gotta get thrown up on. You gotta get stepped on the nuts and things like that. It's not enough to just do the regular thing and be over with. Like there's even jokes about on Instagram. People say, "Oh, I'm super freaky. I do this and that." It's like you're not freaky at this point. You're just nasty, doing all this extra stuff.
That's weird. Yeah, that's why the Lord called us that.
Hey, that's why Babylon is Babylon. All right. I got a quick precept. This is a book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16. It says, and this is the Apostle Paul, all right, speaking on the Esau Edomite nation. Okay, so for anyone who's saying, oh, well, but, he's not really talking about, when he says the mystery of iniquity doth already work, he's not really talking about, let's read who he's talking about, because back then they were ruling. They were known as the Romans. Okay, Romans. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16, it says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Okay, so again, we are understanding that when the Apostle Paul made this statement, when he put this precept together, it was him reflecting and telling the people, the same exact people that you see here today were the same people back then that's written off as Esau Edom. They're here today doing the same exact thing. Don't you think pederasty wasn't something that was done in the Roman Empire? The Apostle Paul was aware of that. Okay, don't you think homosexuality was part of that? Because Jake was going into that type of shit, and he rebuked them on that. He said, any of you who are into this type of custom, doing as the Romans do, guess what? You're not gonna make it into the kingdom. Okay, the Lord gonna destroy you if you don't repent. All right. So lest there be any fornicator or profane person, profane going into what? Outside of the temple. Okay. So Esau Edom, you're not built to be righteous. That's why it's normal for you to do the wicked ass shit, getting kicked in the nuts. Let a bitch try some shit like that. She'll be put to sleep right away. But these niggas will pay for somebody to come in here, kick you in the nut. For what? For what? For what? Stimulation? You just a wicked ass weirdo, man. Okay, you're the most weird people on the face of the earth. Y'all niggas stink. Okay, y'all don't shower. Y'all look crazy. Y'all smell like ass. Like everywhere y'all go, y'all niggas dig underground tunnels. Who does that? They dress all black, nasty ass. It's just disgusting shit, man. and these are supposed to be God's chosen people. Many people got to wake up, man. All right, you got to wake up, okay? Because guess what? When we were during slavery, guess who was singing Negro so-called spirituals, man? Now, you ever see these Amalekites doing that, coming together, congregating, and singing to the Lord and praising the Lord? Nigga, hell no. They're not even associated with the scriptures. So how did they how did they turn becoming the people of the Most High then? You see, hey, the lies and the foolishness is all being destroyed, man. It's just that simple. Okay? And they expose themselves. All we gotta do is just highlight it in the scriptures and say, yep, this is what they're doing. Yep, this is who they are. And that's it. That's all we doing. But that calls for them to call us anti-Sems and a hate group and all this extra shit. FBI, Christopher Wray, they hiring this asshole to come out here and push a false narrative that we're a domestic extremist group or whatever. Nigga, you got a lot of things coming your way. You're doing your job, and guess what? You're not even doing your job right. Okay? I don't want to go on a tangent with that nigga, but he got his own thing coming. All right, but guess what? This is what the prophecy, or this is what the scripture says. Hebrews 12:16, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. Okay, so now we know Esau, Edom, you are profane and you are a fornicator, man. Okay, when you go into that word real quick, and I'm gonna pass it. Um, that word fornicator, all right, it goes into the Greek word pornos. Okay, and that's where you get what you get now. All right, the pornography industry. Okay, apparently Pornhub is owned by a J,
Yep.
well, a fucking rabbi at that. Okay, so let that be known. Okay, that's what they do. That's what they into. All right, destroying the minds of the youth. Okay, um, whoremonger. All right, they pay for people to be, selling themselves and shit like that. Especially with this whole child sex trafficking shit. Who's mostly behind all that shit, man? Of course, the Jays, Esau Edom, the top of the Esau Edom line. Okay, you go into that word profane person. Okay, the word profane. We can get the Strong's information on that. It says heathenish, wicked. Okay, and we know pertaining to Malachi, the first chapter, that who's the wicked? Esau Edom. Okay, Esau Edom, man. All right, so the whole thing, everything is coming out on you devils, man, and you can't escape it. All right, you can only deflect all you want. You can deviate and all that bullshit, but guess what? Ultimately, it's all gonna catch up to you. All right, and it's catching up now. It's catching up fast. You're gonna be overwhelmed by it. All right, but yeah, you got it.
No, con. Yeah, exactly right. You know, yeah, like Zaquan said, they probably built the Hamas tunnels too. Freaking mole rats and shit. But yeah, let's go back to second address. Yeah, it's very interesting that like if you actually listen to kind of like the things that we say and what we go into, and then you look at like if you actually listen to, you're like, wait, so why exactly are they calling these guys like extremists? Like what's so bad about? I mean, okay, they have their take, but there's people out there who have, as a matter of fact, these authorities have a more extreme view than us. You know, look at what freaking the Israel say they want to do to freaking Hamas. They didn't want to end no war. They said, fuck that. The dude came, literally, there was one of them that came on RT News and threatened the news host. You know, he said, when we finish, we're going to come see you and everybody else that's came to come against us. We're going to remember you. I remember your face. Like, I mean, they're the type to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you step on his shoes on a Tuesday, he'll come to you on a Friday and hammer your head in. You know what I'm saying? Until you're one with the pavement type shit. And then leave. You know? What the hell are you talking about? We extreme. You look at all the shit you done. You're mad because we're exposing the things that you've done, and you're a hypocrite. You know? But that's all right. Let's go ahead. Because we're not, see, the point of us being out here is we know that you're in a position of power. Obviously, you're not going to persecute yourself, you know? But when we expose you, we're doing it because the higher judge is going to bring judgment upon you. So we don't care whether the people around, the jury or whatever has whatever to say. You're not the real judge anyway. Go ahead.
This is second Esdras 15 and 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their crops shall be destroyed by fire.
And they that till the ground are the farmers. Now, guess what? You have farmers that are protesting now because these NGOs and these government agencies are taking over their lands. They're telling them, look, you can't, come and you can't farm anymore. Like, we're gonna buy out your farmland, and then that's it. You have to agree and sign this contract to say that you cannot ever farm again. You know? And you like, wait, Bill Gates is buying up a lot of farmland. These governments are trying to like stop farmers from like doing their job. What exactly is going on here? Go ahead.
Well, we could tell the world what's actually going on here because it's all about money and control, right? here it is. These devils for the past, oh shit, I don't know how long, they've been destroying the earth. All right, the ground, it's causing a lot of problems for the farmers. The weather patterns. Normally you go based on certain signs of the seasons to know when to plant your crops and so on and so forth. These devils done destroyed all that patterns, man. Okay, now it's snowing when it's not supposed to snow. You got 50 degrees, 70-degree weather in the wintertime. You'd be like, yo, how is it January and it's 70 degrees? What's going on? Right? Summertime's coming. It's gonna be either mad hot, crazy, or it's gonna be mad cool. It's gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? There's no sun out. Like, what's happening this year? You know? But ultimately, these devils got a sinister plan. What's this guy, Gil Bates? All right, Kill Bates. What he's doing is what? He's buying up all this farmland and then he's destroying the soil, all right, around the whole entire planet. And what's going on is they've designed genetically modified seeds that will grow in the destroyed ground, right? But the organic seeds cannot grow in that destroyed soil. So what happens is all these farmers who don't have or don't appeal or agree with the whole GMO shit, guess what? They're getting weeded out. And everyone who wants to make money and stay on the grid and have a business, they gotta have no choice but to comply with the new GMO way of doing things. And they're growing tomatoes and corn and all kinds of shit. You cut it up and you put it in vinegar, and them shit start swimming like a damn worm and shit. This is what's going on. And then they expect people to eat it. You cut a damn broccoli, you put some olive oil on it, and that motherfucker start moving and dancing and shit. You be like, what the fuck? That's what's going on, man. So there's a lot of shit that these devils have planned to do and are doing already that if people don't wake up to it, it's gonna be too late. All right. I mean, it really is too late for a lot of people, but that's why our voices are being expanded even more. Okay, the Lord is pushing us to come out here and give you the warning, 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 especially you Israelites. Okay? Stop trusting these devils, man. Stop listening to these clown ass people that tell you everything is good. Everything is not good. Okay? Everything is not good. When the warning is going out and the train is coming and you're in the tracks, the louder we sound, the more imminent the danger is. The train is getting closer. Yo, get your ass up. Let's go. You know? If the train is like 2 miles away, you'd be like, yo, there's a train coming 2 miles away. You might want to get up. But we don't come out here telling you, hey, you might want to get up. We tell you, yo, get the fuck up. Like, let's go. The train is coming. You don't see the train? You know? That means that the danger is imminent. Is right there. Get your ass up. Get your shit together. You know? So these devils are getting ready to make a move, man. And everybody who's chilling, sitting around, you're gonna get got. When there's no food, like you brothers was going into earlier, the famine and all that, guess what? The Lord said we're gonna eat. Okay, he said we're gonna drink. He said we're gonna be joyous. All right, we're gonna make merry and praise him and sing unto him for joy of heart. Okay, what's gonna be happening to the rest of the people? The same thing that happened during ancient Egypt with the famine is the same thing that's gonna happen again this time. And those the elect, which started from Joseph and his family, they gonna get delivered, which was Jacob's family. They got food and they were good. The same thing's gonna happen this time around. We're gonna get food and we're gonna be good. Okay, the Lord's gonna feed us and He's gonna preserve us until the coming of our Lord Yahushua. We believe that. All right. For the rest who don't believe, hey, you on your own. All right, but you got it.
Done. Done. Yeah, we're gonna finish it off with second Edges 15. And if Buzz got anything else, go into that. But after that, we're gonna wrap it up. You got it, bro.
All right, this is second Esdras 15 and 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their crops shall be destroyed by fire, and hail, and violent storms. Woe to the world, and them that dwell therein.
Won't mean destruction, right? Go ahead.
Hey,
For
real
the
quick,
sword and their destruction.
Salak, real quick. That previous verse, um, Second Ezra 15:13, where it says, "They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with fearful consolation." All right. When you go, when you go into it, that's who's gonna be causing all that. Yahweh Bashim Yahshai through these devils. They got all the technology. They got they got all kinds of shit. They could set your shit up on fire, and you ain't getting no insurance to cover that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's going into. That they're actually physically destroying the earth. Okay, but you got it.
Yeah, right.
Continuing verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and nations shall rise against one another with swords in their hands.
Yeah, that's what we see going on, in the world today, right? One people shall stand up to fight against another. Yahushua prophesied about that as well. As a matter of fact, the whole thing with Israel Hamas, that's an example. The whole thing, so-called Russia and Ukraine, and all these things that are happening today, that's all in there. Go on.
but there shall be no constancy with the people.
I see. I think interesting. I think yours is the other versions of the apocrypha. But it's good though. It gives you another. It's just another wording, but it's the same concept, right? Go ahead.
With the people, and when one overpowers the other, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and practice violence in all their dealings.
Yeah. So and why is that? Because it's going to be lawlessness, right? The law enforcement has been cut down, and these people are looking like, yo, that's these so-called authorities. Like you had this whole situation where you had these migrants that attacked these police officers, and when they let them out without bail, they was basically stuck the middle finger out, said that's this shit, got on the bus and went to Cali. Go ahead. They said that's this shit. All right.
So that when a man desires to go into the city, he shall not be able. For because of their haughtiness, the cities shall be troubled.
Yeah, their pride, right? Because of their pride, the cities are going to be troubled. Who's going to trouble them? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai via Esau Edom. Go on.
Their houses full of fear, and the people shall be affrighted.
Yeah, why are they going to be afraid? People are going to be afraid to go outside because they're going to see what's going on. Women are going to be getting taken. Children are going to be getting taken. People are going to be getting killed. Just like that on a dime, on a whim. It's going to be very violent and dangerous out here, and the police ain't going to be able to do much for you. So people are going to be afraid. Go on.
A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor.
And that's what's going to cause it to be more chaotic, right? People are not going to let things go. You try cutting somebody off in traffic in that day and see where you end up. Go on.
But shall destroy their houses with the sword.
So that means they're going to break into your house with a weapon. Go on.
And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation.
And your goods includes you, your family, your food, your electricity, anything you stocked up. They're going to come and take it, right? Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's pretty much it on that. So because of these hard times that we're coming into, this is how people are going to be reacting. This is how people are going to be behaving in that time. And that's when you see that dystopian future become a reality for you. All right, it's going to be very, very bad out here in these streets. But that's pretty much it on that, bro. Got anything, bro? All right. So hey, like you said earlier, the warning is going out, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. So prepare. But the key message is repent. Your only way out of this is if you repent, and the Lord has mercy on you, and ultimately you're the elect. But anyway, with that, we're going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.
Shalom to you, brothers, and shalom to the elect. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakatah. Shalom.
Shalom.